Baki begins where most anime does, in a high school, this time in Tokyo, Japan. Every student in the classroom is chilled from the unexpected cold, except for a male student named Baki Hanma. Outside the school, he is accosted by some bullies, and it turns out that Baki can somehow overwhelm anybody with terror, making them fearful of even trying to fight. Soon later, an older man named Mitsunari Tokugawa visits his school and explicitly requests that Baki meet with him in private. In the meeting, Tokugawa warns him of 5 new special powers that have evolved worldwide and will soon arrive in Tokyo. The 5 special powers are revealed to be 5 death row inmates who inexplicably defeat their execution, escape the prison, and leave a note saying they are on their way to Tokyo for their final defeat. Not to add, they all ran on the same night in synchronicity. The first death row inmate, Dorian, escapes from a high-security prison named Agathos in the United States. He is executed by rope and survives even after 10 minutes of being strangled by the leash. Then, he kills every police officer and escapes prison, but not before leaving a message to go to Tokyo for his final defeat. Hector Doyle, the second death row inmate, escapes the Cairo prison in England after surviving the electric chair, killing every police officer, and leaving the same message. Sikorsky is the third inmate from Russia's Evin Silo prison. He escapes the prison through a steam tunnel. Aside from leaving the same message, he kills one of Russia's most powerful heroes. The fourth inmate, Speck, escapes from a level 5 underwater prison in Florida after killing a visitor to obtain his golden tooth to unlock the door. He quickly swims through the high-pressure water, where an average human only lasts 30 seconds, and pops up on the mainland, where he ends up killing the whole Coast Guard. The fifth inmate, Ryuku Yanagi, is confined to a bulletproof glass prison in Japan. He shatters the thick bulletproof glass as easily as if it were regular window glass. After killing all the police officers, he leaves a note saying he will head to Tokyo to face his final defeat. Back in the office, Tokugawa warns Baki to be on his guard as he is Tokyo's strongest martial arts master and the underground fight arena champion. After that, a school thug hires his knife and weapon adept pals to bash Baki. On the other hand, Baki easily defeats them one by one. The school thug grows enraged and pulls a pistol on Baki, and suddenly, Speck appears from behind. He takes the pistol and fires at his face but still is unharmed. Baki recognizes him as one of the special powers and becomes a little scared. Speck laughs as he wonders aloud that Baki, a 17-year-old, is regarded as Tokyo's strongest man, and he effortlessly knocks Baki down with a barrage of blows. Fortunately, the police arrive, and Speck surrenders since he sees jails as hotels. As usual, he escapes from the jail after some time, but not before killing the officer. In his room, Yujiro Hanma is watching the news about escaped inmates. He is Baki's father and is widely regarded as the strongest person on the planet, with earth-shattering fighting and martial abilities. At the same time, Yanagi runs into his former rival, Goki Shibukawa, the originator of the Jiu-Jitsu martial art. After a verbal altercation, Goki challenges Yanagi to a fight but is defeated by him. Next, a martial arts fight occurs in a karate arts academy established by Doppo Orochi. The duel pits Orochi's son, Katsumi Orochi, against Keiyu Retsu, a master in Chinese Kempo martial arts. The match is a tie, yet Katsumi sees Retsu as a superb fighter. Dorian soon intervenes, stating that he is seeking Orochi Doppo. Instead, Katsumi demands that he remove his boots. Dorian begins removing his boots and distracts Katsumi in the process, violently striking him with fatal punches. As a result, Katsumi is drenched in a pool of blood. Just as Dorian is about to leave, Retsu stops him and challenges him to a fight. But Dorian doesn't seem interested and leaves, setting fire to the arena. The next night, Tokugawa hosts a meal for well-known underground martial arts warriors at his home. Suddenly, Sikorsky appears behind and assaults one of the fighters, viciously hurting him to the point that he is taken to the hospital. After Sikorsky beats another fighter, Tokugawa takes him to the underground arena, where he meets the other 4 inmates. After a brief meeting with all the inmates, Tokugawa summons another squad of underground champion fighters, Baki Hanma, Doppo Orochi, Kaoru Hanayama, Shibukawa, and Retsu. These are not ordinary fighters, but they all have a solid introductory tagline that I am not interested in explaining. In brief, Tokugawa guarantees these fighters are powerful enough to defeat the inmates, notably Baki, who won a tournament against 38 tough fighters. To the delight of the fighters, Tokugawa suspends all rules, allowing them to assault their opponent at any moment and under any conditions. And on that night, the combat begins, and all the fighters are thrilled except Baki, who is more preoccupied with sleeping so he can get up early for school. Doppo and Dorian then stroll together. While Retsu tries to make a move on Dorian, Doppo steps in and attacks Dorian first with his strong karate kick technique. Dorian responds by setting Doppo on fire. However, Doppo can't be subdued with such basic tactics. Dorian then uses a titanium wire from his lighter to sever Doppo's wrist. Dorian explains the unique features of the lighter, saying it consists of titanium wire that is thin yet sharp enough to bear a weight of up to 200 kilograms. Then, Doppo reveals his desire to fight without using his hands because his barbaric practice has already scarred his hands. Having said that, he hit Dorian's face hard, knocking him down. At this, Dorian flees the scene. Following that, we find that Baki has a girlfriend named Matsumoto Kozuei. She is the daughter of the owner of the inn where he resides, and they have been together for a long time. Today, they are on a date and spend the entire day together. As the evening draws in, the love tension between the couple is pushed aside, and Baki impulsively kisses Kozuei. Speck appears from behind like he always does. Baki spots him and makes startling eye contact, terrifying Speck for a split second. But, before he strikes Baki, Hanayama meddles and asks that Speck be his opponent in the match. Speck accepts the offer and attacks Hanayama, who has unclothed himself, revealing his majestic tattoo. Hanayama's flashback indicates that he is a Yakuza leader who has always lived in danger and can't be defeated. Speck then launches a volley of strikes on him, including smashing a park bench, all to no effect. Speck then reveals that he nearly wrecked the Statue of Liberty with his trademark punches, which he is going to unleash on him. On saying this, Speck begins binge hitting Hanayama without even breathing, yet he is still unable to weaken him. After Speck stops, Hanayama knocks him down with just one punch. Before Hanayama lands his final blow on Speck's cheek, Speck shoves bullets inside Hanayama's mouth and applies pressure to his face, causing it to explode. But it is shown that Hanayama survives the attack and promptly hits Speck against a power pole, scorching him. After that, he drags a helpless Speck to the police station, to the officer's surprise. As Speck recovers, another fight ensues, this time a violent one. Despite this, Hanayama triumphs once more after a barrage of punches, gunfire, and explosives. After some time, Speck is seen on a hospital bed, timid, weak, and in a coma. The doctor is astounded to find that the man who appeared to be in his 50s is actually in his 90s. After all, his desire to suffer his final defeat has come true. In school, Baki looks bored in his lessons and is scolded by his lecturer, who starts lecturing on brain over brawn. Doyle bursts into the classroom via the window and hits the lecturer, drenching Baki in tears of joy. Just then, Baki strikes Doyle to distract him, allowing him to escape out the window before his classmates learn his real identity. Once outside, he is confronted by Yanagi, disguised as a gardener. He begins attacking Baki with his fast-spinning knives, perplexing him. Nonetheless, Baki manages to avoid his lightning-fast attacks, which an ordinary human won't be able to do. Yanagi is impressed by his skills and is still on the upper hand. Soon, Shibukawa arrives on the scene, first pulling a prank on Yanagi before joining Baki in the actual combat against Yanagi. Still, Yanagi manages to maintain the upper hand until Shibukawa neck crushes him and instructs Baki to attack him. However, Yanagi frees himself just in time and discloses his technique to lower the enemy's oxygen supply. He then employs the same technique on Baki to render him unconscious. When he hears the police siren, he leaves the area, unwittingly waking up Baki in the process. In the evening, Tokugawa summons his fighters again and is furious at Baki for being defeated by Yanagi. Baki feels ashamed and exits the room, only to be met outside by Dorian, who has arrived with a bucket full of gasoline. Katsumi gets involved just before Dorian is ready to set fire to the place. He makes his move without hesitation and spills Dorian's gasoline on his body. Dorian is evidently scorched, and Doppo praises Katsumi for turning the enemy's weapon on himself. He adds that preparing weapons before a fight is a disgrace for a karate martial artist. Not surprisingly, Dorian survives again. This time, he fights Katsumi's teacher, Kato Kiyosumi, a karate master who likes to fight on the field rather than in the arena. Kato quickly subdues him. Dorian, pretending to be defeated, sharply entangles Kato and Katsumi with his titanium wire. Doppo immediately snaps the wire with his bare hands and adds that, with intensive effort and years of hard work, anyone can develop their hand into a fatal weapon. But Dorian is too stubborn to accept defeat, so he pulls a saliva-laced grenade from his mouth and detonates it. The scene shifts, revealing that everyone survived the explosion, including Dorian, who has now gone underground. Later, he is faced with Kato, who has followed him the entire time. He challenges Dorian to a redo of their bout. Dorian beats him up, altering his whole facial structure using oil and shattered glass as gloves. Surprisingly, Kato appears to relish this, and he starts fighting furiously with Dorian, constantly thinking about winning. He wins the battle, but only in his perception, as Dorian had hypnotized him after smelling Kato's desire to win. Dorian then quickly wraps up the fight by trapping Kato's neck with the wire string he had prepared earlier. The next day, Retsu uncovers Kato's frail body in a punching bag at the Shinkai Karate Academy. Kato is quickly rushed to the hospital while Doppo and Katsumi direct their members to track down and catch Dorian across Tokyo. Given a large number of karate college members from various vocations, it takes them little time to abduct Dorian and lead him to an amusement park. They tell him to go inside by himself. Dorian is met inside the park by a clown who brings him through the park's different rides. Meanwhile, a guy named Atsushi Suedo bursts in, knocking Dorian to the ground. He has come to get revenge on his comrade, Kato. His fists seriously harm Dorian, and they quickly find themselves on a roller coaster. It is difficult for them to keep balance due to roller speed and gravity. However, it turns out that Atsushi has learned the Sanshin's balance skill, giving him an advantage in the fight. Dorian realizes this and jumps from the roller coaster, taking Atsushi with him. Even after jumping from such a great height, only Dorian survives since he had beforehand hooked the titanium string to a pole that he knew could support his weight. After this, Dorian is accosted by Doppo and Retsu, as the latter acknowledges Dorian as the great Kempo practitioner who excavated a tunnel with his bare hands and is the only Westerner in history to be awarded the title of Keiu. He bows reluctantly before Dorian, much to Katsumi's disgust. Because of the temple rules, Retsu can't fight him, so Doppo steps in. During the fight, it is revealed that Doppo killed a tiger by himself 20 years ago. Also, Doppo breaks his cast and reveals his new hand, thanks to his trusted doctor and technical developments. Dorian is having trouble with Doppo, so he uses his hypnotic technique on him. Although Doppo is hypnotized, his enthusiasm for fighting is so intense that the real and fake merge, allowing Doppo to punch at the proper spot. Doppo eventually overpowers Dorian, breaking his sternum, knees, and fingers in the process. Dorian is terrified and feels defeated for the first time. Doppo only wants Kato to end this fight by killing Dorian. Soon, Kato is dragged to the scene in his wheelchair while Dorian shakes with horror. When Doppo requests that he hit Dorian, Kato miraculously removes the casts and bandages and stands up. But before he has even struck a single blow, Dorian concedes defeat. Later, at the hospital, Dorian visits Kato, who is in a vulnerable state but doesn't harm him. Instead, he abducts Doppo's wife. Doppo is worried after not finding his wife, and Dorian attacks him. He causes an explosion, injuring his own hand in the process, but continues to sing a French song cheerfully. On the other hand, Baki bids Kozuei goodbye after their date. He wants to spend the night with Kozuei but lacks the nerve to say so and leaves dejected. On the other hand, Retsu confronts Dorian upon his return from Doppo's house. Dorian provokes the fight, violating the temple's rules, so Retsu does not stop himself either and punches Dorian so hard that he actually knocks him out. The ambulance transports Dorian to the hospital, and the faculty becomes terrified after learning about his history. Retsu feels relieved since Dorian's brain has been injured, rendering him a timid, childlike maniac. Retsu also feels sorry for him. Meanwhile, Sikorsky busts into Kozuei's room and threatens to kill her and her mother. Baki, thankfully, comes just in time and swiftly defeats Sikorsky with his strike. Baki then compels him to leave Kozuei's home, and Sikorsky cleverly abducts Kozuei while fleeing the scene. Elsewhere, Sonoda, a top Japanese police official, plus the UK, US, and Russia representatives decide to enlist the help of an Arizona prisoner named Biscuit Oliva. Sonoda then flies to Arizona to meet with Oliver, where he is surprised to find Oliver pampered as a king. He gets preferential treatment from the US police due to his assistance catching big-time crooks. Sonoda meets Oliver, who welcomes him to his opulent hotel-like jail. Meanwhile, Oliver receives a police call to apprehend a criminal. Oliver hurries to the mentioned location and invites Sonoda to accompany him to show how he captures the crooks. When Oliver arrives, he learns that the culprit this time is someone seeking vengeance on him for a previous incident. Although the culprit shoots Oliver repeatedly, he is rendered ineffective due to Oliver's robust body. Oliver quickly overpowers and turns him over to the cops, as expected. The following day, in Oliver's private plane, Oliver and Sonoda fly to Japan. Once in Tokyo, he separates from Sonoda to deal with a private matter. On the other hand, Baki finds Yujiro's finding of Kozuei's whereabouts and rushes to the indicated location to save her. Concurrently, Oliver and Yujiro somehow cross paths and fight alongside each other against Sikorsky. Soon, Baki arrives at the location and unleashes a flurry of punches on Sikorsky. The apartment window shatters during the fight, and Sikorsky falls. Suddenly, Baki gets shocked, finding Sikorsky behind him. Sikorsky reveals his ability to climb flat walls, which he also used to escape jail. After saying this, another fight ensues, but it is short-lived due to the arrival of the police. So, Sikorsky departs the scene, and Kozuei is rescued. Baki pursues Sikorsky and surprises him by breaking into his hideout. They resume the fight. Baki continues to hit him fiercely, out of revenge for Kozuei, until the latter bleeds and falls unconscious. Just then, Oliver comes and applauds Baki, as he has been watching the battle the entire time. He then suggests that, as part of his job, he takes Sikorsky away from that place and bring him up to the police. Baki, skeptical of Oliver, tries to strike him, but Oliver deftly deflects the attack. This allows Sikorsky to wake up and pull himself back. He dares Oliver to fight, and the latter agrees. Then, Sikorsky slams blow and fists into Oliver's torso, but they have no impact. On the contrary, Oliver easily knocks Sikorsky out with a single blow. He then throws the crippled Sikorsky to Sonoda and praises Baki for locating Sikorsky's hideout. Later that night, Doyle ambushes Oliver after infiltrating his room disguised as a policewoman. Oliver is more than happy to engage in another brawl and hits Doyle until he bleeds. However, as he clutches Doyle's collar, the concealed blades injure him. Doyle takes advantage of the situation and exits the room through the ventilator hole. Afterward, Shinogi Kosho, a devoted Shinkai College member who has mastered the technique of cutting objects with bare hands known as the cord cutter, decides to fight Doyle. After learning his address, Shinogi confronts Doyle in a Lux hotel. He moves quickly to attack Doyle, who has weaponry fitted everywhere over his body. Shinogi's first attack is powerful enough to cause Doyle to convulse. After regaining his senses, Doyle responds by launching a heel shot at his face, forcing his lower jaw to fracture. Then he detonates a bomb, severely wounding Shinogi while receiving minor injuries thanks to his yearly practices. After this duel, Shinogi slips into a coma and is held in the hospital. After some time, Doyle runs into Retsu by chance in a bar. They obviously decide to fight, and Retsu uses his kunai to pierce Doyle's eyes and burn his body. In summary, Retsu's strikes put Doyle in a vulnerable position. Still, Doyle attempts to make his final move by hitting Retsu from behind, but it has little impact on him. Retsu then chooses to use his wushu spear to finish the fight, but not before asking Doyle whether he has accepted defeat. When an arrogant but timid Doyle refuses to affirm, Retsu knocks him out with his kicks. A few days later, Doyle awakens at Shinkai's college, only to find that he has been in a coma for 2 days and that Shinkai's students saved his life by donating blood. A few days later, Retsu discovers Doyle missing from his room. However, he reappears at the Shinkai karate training room to thank students who have donated blood. But his real intentions are still tainted, and he leaves the academy by putting it on fire, causing the students to suffer some pain. Outside, he crosses paths with Doppo but avoids attacking him since Oliver and Retsu have clearly brutalized him. But when Doppo taunts him, he grows enraged and attacks him with a strong punch, which Doppo effortlessly blocks and even knocks him down in response. Doyle awakens again and finds himself at the Shinkai Academy, where a charred Katsumi knocks him out after he again refuses to concede defeat. When Doyle awakens the next night, Katsumi's aide informs him that Katsumi has decided to end their fight and declare him the winner since he does not want to harm Doyle any longer. After hearing this, Doyle chooses to see Katsumi and accept his defeat. Elsewhere, Sikorsky escapes the prison once more by climbing the prison wall with his trademark agility. Later, Yanagi confronts Baki, who is with Kozuei and challenges him to one-on-one combat. During the fight, Baki counteracts even the most lethal strikes with tactics he learned from his father. Unfortunately, in the middle of the fight, Sikorsky intervenes and joins Yanagi in attacking Baki. Still, Baki subdues them and throws them to the ground. Baki chooses to run, but not before kidnapping Kozuei. Later at night, Doyle is stopped at a port by Yanagi, who deems him a loser. Doyle is enraged and charges Yanagi, who promptly hits him in the eye with a poisoned hand, blinding him. Doyle jumps into the sea, knowing Yanagi will surely kill him. In the city, Baki's half-brother, Jack Hanma, traps Sikorsky in a phone booth before leading him to the underground arena stadium, where the two engage in a duel with one basic rule: fighting with bare hands. Jack is larger and stronger than Sikorsky, and they fight for an hour until Jack is replaced by an apparently light-footed fighter named Gaia. Although the audience isn't expecting much from him, he shows his powers by shattering all of the lights above the arena with a single roar. The fight then commences, and he gives Sikorsky an even tougher time, flinging sand mixed with the teeth and nails left behind from previous battles onto Sikorsky, slashing his flesh. He attacks every 10 seconds, each time harder, and Sikorsky's eyes are filled with horror, and he ultimately admits defeat. The other round pits Yanagi against Motope. He tries to use his poison hand on Motope, but the latter slashes his hand. Motope beats Yanagi, and then Yujiro appears. He claims Yanagi has lost the fight, but when he disagrees, Yujiro strikes him, causing him to fall. Finally, the 5 special powers seeking their ultimate defeat have tasted it. But there is no happy ending since Baki is dying from Yanagi's poison fist strike. He has grown frail, brittle, and unwell. Even the doctors are losing faith in him, which worries Kozuei. Baki chooses to take Kozuei to a cottage in the highlands. Here, he meets Ando, a fighter who tries to heal Baki with various plants and herbal remedies to eliminate the poison in his body. But he is also uncertain about his treatment. After some days, Retsu pays a visit to Baki, and instead of shaking hands, he punches Baki down. Then he discloses that he wants Baki to compete in the Great Reitai match, which occurs once every 100 years. Only world-class fighters are permitted to compete in the Reitai match, and Baki may have the opportunity to compete against both his father and Muhammad Ali's son, Ali Jr., in the contest. Despite his poor condition, Baki vows to win the Reitai match since his ambition has always been to defeat his father. And the anime ends there. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications if you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.